We are in the Niles Township, as is Niles. Skokie is a very large community, and we boast that we have 88 languages are spoken in Skokie, so we have the whole group of the human type of experience that live in Skokie, that's for sure. So when I speak, a lot of our programs I know Niles is doing as well as well as all the other communities. I work at the Niles North High School. We also have a second high school, Niles West High School. There's another officer there. We also have officers in some in some junior highs, and basically the idea is to get a connection with the schools and with the community resources going on, trying to get some early intervention. The earlier the intervention with the kid with the substance abuse, obviously the goal is to try to curb that as fast as possible. We are in a church, and of course, there was mentioned about a higher power. The higher power I come from is the judge, okay? The one thing, if you get in trouble with the police, you end up in court, you're in front of a judge. That's the highest power that in my line of work where it comes from. The biggest misconception that I have constantly seen over the years working with youth is juveniles, and when I'm saying a juvenile, it's anybody under the age of 18. So if you're 17 years of age and younger and you get in trouble with the police and then go in front of a court, the biggest misconception is that your life might be ruined, tarnished, whatnot. And I have tried over the years to, and I hopefully have instilled it on some parents, because a lot of parents come to us for help. Juvenile law is not set up to be punitive. It is to help kids. And I'm going to speak a little quickly on some of the things that we're doing, but I don't care if we write the kid a local ordinance citation or we send him to juvenile court in front of a judge and they have to get an attorney. The whole basic outcome is to intervene in that child's life, try to help the parents, and steer the ship in a better direction. So what I'm saying is there's obviously a stigma whenever the police are involved in any situation, child, family, whatever, and unfortunately sometimes that stigma that we're all carrying around doesn't do us any good. It doesn't do us any good when we're dealing with mental illness, and it certainly doesn't do us any good with abuse and everything else. If we just have honest communications with ourselves, our families, and our communities, it's not easy, but we've had parents actually call the police on their own kids. It's an unbelievable phone call to make. I hope nobody has to do that in this room, but they were doing it because they needed the help, and often they do it. They do get it, and then the flip side is if you just deny it. It was mentioned that sometimes these kids are doing things that they're seeing that their parents are doing. Of course, the parents, they'll come into the police station. We deal with a really tough kid. Boy, you can just see where it's coming from. The parents are probably decades of doing the same type of behavior. So it's certainly no secret. But bottom line, again, with what we do is we try to get early intervention, and it really starts with we have a local program for local ordinances where we write kids citations for if they do get underage drinking. We try to, first or second times, they get a local ordinance and it causes them to go in front of a judge. But we have the parents, it's a mandatory court appearance for the parents. You have to get the parents involved. And they get drug tested, they get drug education. They could be drug tested on the spot. The judge will send them upstairs to a room to get tested to see how they're doing, and then they get hooked up with social service programs in our community, and it's more often than not we don't see a lot of repeat offenders. So there's a lot of very good people doing a lot of very good work in the social service work, whether they're social workers or counselors. They know their stuff. I hope they know their stuff as well as what I've heard tonight, because a lot of people know really a lot what's going on. But when these kids get plugged in, it does help. The repeat offenders, when we do obviously have them, we step up the charge, and they're not getting a local ordinance charge. Then they probably are getting referred to court. Same thing goes with the parents. It was mentioned earlier about parties with parents and whatnot. We will charge families, we'll charge parents with throwing a party, or at least even having knowledge of their kid having a party, even if they're not directly, They might just be indirectly involved or just passively involved, saying, well, you know what, the kids are doing whatever they're doing in the basement. They know I'm upstairs, whatever. Well, it's not whatever. If they're doing that and they're allowing that type of activity, whether it's drinking, smoking some pot, then the parents will be in trouble with us as well. It could be something as little as a local ordinance, but could also there's criminal charges contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and that type of thing. As far as I would just stress, I work in a high school. I talk to these kids a lot. I'm usually brought in when counselors are dealing with them, and the best thing is just be honest with them. Kids know a line of bull crap. They just do. And it doesn't do a parent or a police officer any good if you try to scare them with some beyond the pale stuff. Like I remember seeing, anti-marijuana ads from I think it was from the 50s. I mean, well, before I was born, but they're ludicrous, and you're going to grow horns or whatever. Just be honest with the kids. They're going to see right through you, and your message is going to be dead on arrival anyway. So you have to be honest. We all have to be honest. We're just not doing any good with making it. They constantly like to use myself and some of my partners as boogeymen to give the big scary message, and we're missing the opportunity to really have a better dialogue with the kids, and that's when you make a connection, then hopefully they're going to hear us. So that's as far as the numbers we're seeing, and hopefully it's a trend. I don't know, but we have written quite a bit less local ordinance citations for all sorts of things like alcohol and cannabis from 2013 to 2012. There's been a significant drop. I hope that's a trend. As far as the legislature in Illinois, we're a little bit behind the times with what's these e-cigarettes and vapor pens. There's not a whole lot there with laws. I'm sure they're coming. I know there's a lot of discussion. Gordy gave me this hookah pamphlet a few months ago, and it went like wildfire in the schools. It was a real eye-opener, and so sometimes it's nice to see that the community steps up. I was really thrilled by that pamphlet. It was so informative, and if you're not familiar with that hookah pamphlet, please go home with it. High school that I work at, School District 219, again, it's Niles West and Niles North. They've had a big problem with the drinking and marijuana use with athletes, and they have been in discussion about possibly doing a drug testing for the kids in high school. Other high schools have them. There was a green light on it. Now all of a sudden it's not such a green light. And when I spoke to administrator about why are we stopping, again, the biggest thing is it's the public perception. So again, it always comes around to how are we going to look, and it's if parents do that with their kids, and now we have school districts doing it with our kids. Sometimes you just got to get over that stuff, and we just need to be honest with our kids, honest with ourselves, honest with our professionals. What's going on? What's the best approach? So I hope things change, but drug testing on kids who do extracurricular activities has worked in a lot of other communities. They're trying to do that, and then they're also afraid to do that, and they're going to have to work that out. But as members of the community, I hope some of us make our thoughts known that maybe it's a good idea, and we shouldn't just be denying things as well.